80 samurai warriors standing on a beach, watching the horizon turn black. Not from a storm, from sails. 900 ships, 20,000 Mongol soldiers, the most brutal military force on the planet. And these 80 guys, they know exactly what's about to happen. They're going to die. All of them. In the next few hours. But here's the insane part. They could leave. They could escape to the mainland, warn everyone, and live. Instead, they stay. And what happens next is the most one-sided battle in history, and accidentally saves an entire country. This is the story of how 80 samurai faced impossible odds, got absolutely destroyed, and somehow became the reason Japan was never conquered. November 18th, 1274. The beach at Tsushima Island. Let's go. Okay, so rewind 7 years. 1267. A messenger shows up on the shores of Japan with a letter. It's from Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan's grandson, the guy who just conquered all of China and Korea, the most powerful man on earth. The letter is simple. Hey, Japan, we've conquered everyone else. Pay us tribute, send ambassadors, or we're coming for you. It's basically a polite way of saying bend the knee or die. Most kingdoms, they bend the knee immediately. The Mongols don't mess around. But Japan? Japan reads the letter and does something absolutely wild. They ignore it. Complete silence. No response. No ambassadors. Not even a thanks but no thanks. Kublai Khan is confused. He sends another letter. Japan ignores it. He sends another and another. For 6 straight years, he's sending increasingly threatening letters, and Japan just ghosts him. Now, you gotta understand, nobody does this to the Mongols. The Mongols have conquered from Eastern Europe to the Pacific. They've wiped out entire civilizations. And Japan is like, read, 3:47 p.m. Why? Because Japan has never been invaded, ever, in their entire history. They're an island nation, protected by the sea. They've only ever fought each other in civil wars. So when the most powerful empire on earth threatens them, they genuinely don't get how serious it is. They think, we're Japan, we're untouchable, the ocean protects us. Big mistake. Because by 1274, Kublai Khan is done asking nicely. He's building an invasion fleet, 900 warships, 20,000 soldiers. And Japan? Japan has no idea what's coming. November 1274. The Mongol fleet set sail from Korea. Target, Tsushima Island. A tiny island between Korea and mainland Japan. Why Tsushima? Because it's the gateway. Take Tsushima, you have a base. Then you hit the mainland. And defending Tsushima? 80 samurai. That's it. 80 guys. The governor, a dude named Sukekuni, watches the fleet approach from a cliff top. He tries to count the ships. 10, 20, 50, 100. He can't count them all. There are too many. He does the math real quick. 80 versus 20,000. He's got 3 options. Option 1, surrender. Live, but dishonor your family forever. In samurai culture, surrender is worse than death. Option 2, escape to the mainland. Warn everyone, save yourself. Totally reasonable. Option 3, stay, fight, die. But buy time for the mainland to prepare. Now here's the thing. If they run, nobody knows how serious this is. The mainland thinks it's maybe pirates, a small raid, no big deal. But if they fight, if they force the Mongols into a real battle, then someone escapes and warns the mainland, this isn't pirates, this is an invasion, and they're unstoppable. Sukekuni gathers his men. He explains the situation. Some are terrified, some want to run, some want to fight. But they all know the code, Bushido, the way of the warrior. Death before dishonor. Sukekuni makes the call. They stay. All 80 of them. They write goodbye letters to their families. They sharpen their swords. They prepare for death. And they wait on the beach. The Mongol fleet lands at Komoda Beach. Boats hit the sand. Thousands of warriors jump into the water. And immediately, the samurai realize they're screwed. See, samurai fight with a code called Bushido, honor above everything. When you fight, you announce your name, you announce your lineage, you challenge a worthy opponent, you fight one-on-one. It's like medieval formal dueling. There are rules, etiquette. So the first samurai, a guy named Takizaki Suenaga, rides forward on his horse. He's in full armor, sword raised, confident. He shouts his name at the top of his lungs, announces his family lineage going back 5 generations, challenges the Mongols to honorable combat. He expects a Mongol warrior to step forward, accept the challenge, fight him one-on-one. Instead, the Mongols just shoot him. No announcement, no duel, just arrows. Hundreds of them. Takizaki gets hit 3 times almost simultaneously, one in the shoulder, another in the thigh. The third kills his horse. He falls, rolls in the sand, blood everywhere. He's lying there like what the hell just happened? Because the Mongols don't do honor, they do efficiency. They fight in formation, shields up, archers behind. When one samurai charges, 10 Mongols surround him and kill him from all sides. No duels, no honor, no rules. Just brutal, organized killing. And then the samurai hear something they've never heard before. A whistling sound in the air, getting louder. Then, boom! Explosions. Actual bombs. The Mongols are launching gunpowder explosives from catapults on their ships, iron spheres filled with explosive powder that detonate on impact, sending metal shrapnel flying in every direction. Horses panic, men scream. Some samurai have never heard an explosion in their lives. They think it's magic, thunder from the gods. It's worse than that. It's technology. It's the difference between a civilization that's been at war with half the world and an island that's only ever fought itself. The samurai are medieval warriors with swords. The Mongols are a 12th century military superpower with bombs. It's not a fair fight. The battle lasts 3 hours. But it's not really a battle. It's a massacre. The 80 samurai charge. They fight like absolute demons. They're skilled, they're brave, they're warriors who've trained their entire lives. But they're facing a military machine that's conquered from China to Eastern Europe. The Mongols don't even consider it a real fight. For them, it's a warm-up. Sukekuni, the governor, watches his men fall one by one. First 80, then 60, then 40. He knows it's over. In samurai tradition, when defeat is inevitable, you have 2 choices. Die fighting and take as many enemies with you as possible, or commit seppuku, ritual suicide. Die by your own hand with dignity instead of being executed like a criminal. Sukekuni chooses neither. He grabs his katana and charges straight into the center of the Mongol formation. His last 20 men follow him. They scream, they fight, they cut down Mongols left and right. But there are too many, way too many. One by one, they fall. Sukekuni takes a spear to the chest, another to the leg. He keeps fighting. A Mongol soldier slashes his throat. He falls. None survive. 80 samurai, dead in 3 hours. The Mongols count their casualties. Maybe 100 men lost, maybe. For them, it was nothing. They land the rest of their force, 20,000 warriors, and take over the island. And here's where it gets really dark. The Mongols don't just kill soldiers. They have a psychological terror tactic they've perfected over 40 years of conquests. They take civilians, women, children, elderly, priests, and pierce holes straight through their palms, thread ropes through the wounds, and hang them from the sides of their ships like human banners. Alive. screaming. Imagine that. The next island sees the Mongol fleet approaching, and hanging from every ship are people, still alive, screaming for help. That's the message. This is what happens if you resist. It's not just war, it's psychological warfare, designed to make the next targets surrender before the fighting even starts. Tsushima falls completely in 2 days. The Mongols execute anyone who resists, burn villages, take slaves. But here's what they didn't plan on. Before dying, Sukekuni managed to send a messenger. In the chaos of the first attack, he grabbed one of his fastest riders and said, "Go, now. Tell Kyushu what's coming." The rider escapes in a small fishing boat, crosses the strait to Kyushu, the main southern island of Japan. He arrives at Daizaifu, the regional capital, covered in blood, half dead from rowing. The message: massive invasion, 900 ships, thousands of warriors, weapons that explode like thunder. Tsushima has fallen. The governor of Kyushu, a guy named Soni Tsunesuke, hears the report. His first reaction is disbelief. An invasion? Really? It's been 6 years since the last threatening letter from Kublai Khan. Most people thought he'd forgotten about Japan. But now the threat is real. Tsunesuke makes a decision. He sends urgent messengers to Kamakura, the capital of the military government. He orders every available samurai in Kyushu to mobilize immediately. He starts evacuating coastal villages, and most importantly, he orders the construction of defensive walls along the beaches. About 3,000 samurai answer the call. It's the most Japan can muster on short notice. Still outnumbered 7-1, but it's something. Meanwhile, the Mongol fleet moves to the next target, the island of Iki. Larger than Tsushima, more defenders, 120 samurai. The result? Same massacre. The samurai fight bravely, they all die. The Mongols move on. November 23, 1274, the invasion fleet arrives at Hakata Bay on Kyushu, the mainland. This is it, the real battle. The Mongols land at Hakata. Bombs explode. Arrows fly. Thousands of warriors charge the beach. But this time, something's different. The samurai don't charge like idiots. They've learned. They've heard what happened at Tsushima and Iki. They hold defensive positions behind hastily built stone walls. They fight in groups, not as individuals. It's clumsy, it's improvised, but it works better than heroic suicide charges. The Mongols take the beach. They push inland, but they're taking casualties, real casualties. For every 100 meters they advance, they lose dozens of men. The samurai are making them pay. Night falls. The Mongols control the beach, but they haven't broken through to the interior. They regroup, set up camp, plan the final assault for tomorrow. The samurai retreat to nearby hills. They're exhausted, wounded, low on arrows, but alive. And then, around midnight, the weather changes. The wind picks up. Clouds roll in from the ocean, thick, black, moving fast. The Mongols on the beach look toward the horizon. Something's coming. It's a typhoon, a Pacific hurricane, and it's about to hit with apocalyptic force. The waves start growing, 2 meters, 5 meters, 10 meters. The 900 Mongol ships anchored in Hakata Bay start crashing into each other. Sailors frantically try to cut anchors, sail to deeper water, escape the bay. But it's too late. The wind is too strong. The waves are too high. Ships smash against rocks, wooden hulls splinter, masts snap like twigs. Mongol warriors below deck are chapped when ships capsize. They drown by the hundreds. On land, the surviving Mongols are in chaos. The wind is so strong they can't stand. Tents fly away. Campfires go out instantly. Rain falls like spears. Visibility drops to 0. And in the darkness, the samurai attack. They know the terrain. They move like ghosts, hit the Mongol camps, kill, disappear, attack somewhere else. The Mongols can't form defensive lines, can't see 3 meters ahead, can't coordinate. They're being slaughtered in the dark. Dawn breaks on November 24th. The storm is still raging, but with less intensity. The samurai return to the hills and look toward the bay. What they see is apocalyptic. The coastline is covered in wreckage, shattered wood, floating corpses, capsized ships. Of the 900 vessels, maybe 300 are still afloat, maybe less. The Mongol commander, a general named Kim Bang-yong, realizes the situation is hopeless. Without ships, they're trapped. Without supplies, they'll starve. Without reinforcements, they'll be massacred. He makes the call: immediate retreat, abandon equipment, abandon wounded, get on whatever ships are left and sail back to Korea. Now. The battered fleet limps away from Japan. Of 20,000 warriors who arrived, only about 13,000 make it back. 7,000 dead. Not from glorious battle, from a storm. The Japanese can't believe it. They won. Not through superior tactics, not through better warriors, through weather, through pure, impossible luck. Or was it luck? In temples across Kyushu, Buddhist monks and Shinto priests had been praying non-stop since the invasion began, praying for protection, praying for a miracle. And just when everything seemed lost, when the Mongols were about to overrun Japan, the storm came. The Japanese give it a name: Kamikaze, divine wind. The wind sent by the gods to protect Japan from foreign invasion. It's the birth of a national myth that will last 700 years. The Japanese celebrate, build temples, thank the gods who saved them. But 2,000 miles away in China, Kublai Khan is planning revenge. Because he's not done, not even close. That was just round one, a test, a reconnaissance in force. Now he knows Japan is vulnerable. He knows samurai can be beaten. He knows that with more ships, more men, better planning, he can conquer those islands. So for the next 7 years, he prepares. And this time, he's not messing around. He orders the construction of the largest invasion fleet in history. Not 900 ships, 4,500 ships. Not 40,000 men, 140,000 men. It's an armada so massive that no storm could possibly stop it. In Japan, the government is terrified. They won the first invasion, yes, but barely. If the Mongols come back with an even bigger force, Japan won't survive. The shogunate orders total mobilization. The defensive walls at Hakata are expanded, 2 meters high, stone, surrounding the entire bay. Samurai are trained in new tactics, group fighting, defensive formations. For 7 years, Japan prepares for the return of the Mongols. Every spring, every summer, lookouts scan the horizon, waiting. Summer 1281. The fleet sets sail. But it's not one fleet, it's two. The first, 900 ships with 40,000 Mongol and Korean warriors, sets out from Korea. The second, 3,600 ships with 100,000 Chinese soldiers, set sail from southern China. The plan: both fleets meet off the coast of Kyushu and attack simultaneously. It's the most ambitious military operation of the medieval era. The Korean fleet arrives first in June. They attack Tsushima and Iki again. But this time, the Japanese are ready. Guerrilla warfare, constant ambushes. The Mongols take the islands but lose hundreds of men in the process. They continue to Kyushu, arrive at Hakata, and see the walls. 2 meters of solid stone. Behind the walls, thousands of samurai archers. The Mongols try a frontal assault. They can't break through. So they wait, anchored offshore, waiting for the Chinese fleet. Days pass, then weeks. The summer heat is brutal. Drinking water runs low, disease spreads. And the samurai launch night raids. Small boats, 20 warriors per boat, approach in darkness, board Mongol ships, kill the crew, set fires, escape. The Mongols call them the pirates of the night. It's psychological warfare. Mongol sailors can't sleep. Every sound in the dark could be a samurai climbing aboard. Finally, in mid-July, the Chinese fleet arrives. 3,600 ships, 100,000 fresh soldiers. Now the Mongols can launch the massive coordinated assault. But the Korean forces are exhausted, sick, low on morale. The commanders decide to wait a few more days, regroup, plan the attack properly. It's a reasonable tactical decision. It's also the decision that dooms the entire invasion. Because on August 14th, the sky darkens again. Another typhoon. Bigger than the first. Much bigger. For 2 days, the storm annihilates the fleet. Waves 15, 20 meters high, mountains of water that lift ships like toys and smash them against rocks. Of 4,500 ships, fewer than 300 survive. 120,000 Mongol warriors dead, drowned, gone. It's the most catastrophic naval defeat in history. The survivors who make it to shore, the samurai execute them. No mercy, no prisoners, not after what happened at Tsushima. Kublai Khan receives the news in Beijing. They say he stayed silent for hours, then ordered the execution of the surviving commanders. He never tries again. He dies in 1294. His dream of conquering Japan dies with him. For the next 650 years, until World War II, no foreign power attempts to invade Japan. And the Kamikaze becomes more than a storm. It becomes a national identity. The belief that Japan is literally protected by the gods. A belief so powerful that 650 years later, Japanese pilots named themselves Kamikaze and crashed into American warships expecting divine protection. Turns out, the gods don't always show up. But for 80 men on a beach in 1274, the choice was simple. Run and live with shame, or stay and die with honor. They chose honor. They didn't save Japan. They got destroyed in 3 hours. But they bought time. They sent the warning. And that warning gave the mainland just enough time to prepare for the storms that saved everything. Were they heroes? Or were they just following orders in a system that valued death over life? Honestly, both. Because here's the thing about history. The winners get called heroes, and the losers get called stupid. The 80 samurai lost, badly. But Japan won, because of luck, because of weather, because of 80 men who stayed when they could have run. And whether that's brave or stupid depends on who's telling the story. Drop a comment. Would you have stayed or run? Hit subscribe for more insane historical battles, because this is just the beginning.